I had the pleasure this week of talking with a lady named Miranda Mesler from our Shingle House campus, and she was the last person you saw baptized in that video. And I believe her words were, I don't remember the exact words, but something to the effect of, "I've been waiting a long time for this." And I got a chance to share her story today. And even more than her story, I get to share her son Dawson's story. Dawson was kayaking with family, and they had stopped for a quick break, and Dawson had just taken off his life jacket when he noticed his younger brother and cousin playing by the water's edge and started to slip into the water. And Dawson, much like Esther, had a decision to make. They could do nothing and hope that someone else would step in and change things, or they could take action. And as we go on in Esther's story, we see that Esther takes action. She steps up and she does something. She finally approaches the king, and it takes her a couple chances before she really can get out what she's going for. And I think that shows her fear and her concern and her worry of knowing what could happen. But finally, in her second request, she gets out what she's going for. And we read it in Esther 7, starting in verse 3. It says, "Then Queen Esther answered, 'If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be granted me for my wish, and my people for my request. For we have been sold, and I and my people, to be destroyed, to be killed, and to be annihilated. If we had been sold merely as slaves, men and women, I would have been silent, for our affliction is not to be compared with the loss to the king.'" Now, I don't know about you, but it sure sounds to me a lot like she's groveling, begging for mercy, begging for her life from the king. And as we read on, if you read on in Esther, you see it works. The king, she finds favor with the king, he takes care of her, and they all live happily ever after. But the fact is, not all stories end that way. We don't always live happily ever after. Sometimes you do the right thing, and it doesn't come out the way you like it. You see, that day, Dawson took action. He rushed in to help save his little brother and his cousin, and he never made it out alive. May 28th, 2016, he lost his life in that same water that his mother and sister were baptized in last Sunday. He gave his life for his family because that's what he was called to do.